a lot of times, people talk about fight, flight and freeze, being bad things. And yes, I agree with fight and freeze being a bad thing. It's something we don't want in our horses, but flight is a natural thing. And I disagree thinking that, flight's a bad thing, because it's a natural thing for a horse to do. It's the intensity of flight. So, when a horse is not thinking and running off irrationally and really panicked, and then that's bad flight. But just natural flight instinct could be a horse shifting a little bit to create a little distance with something that it's not so sure about, so it can think about it a little more and make a more, balanced decision. That could be a flight instinct, just shifting. And when horses think they have to freeze, then that takes away their ability to shift and tip their own worry out. So flight is sometimes, a horse making a decision to follow the feel of a herd, when one of the horses say we need to seek safety from something that's scary. So one horse is the one that makes the decision to say, look, go over there. The other horses are generally just following the feel of what's happening. They're not just all scattering like mice. So we have to think about flight in our training, and following a feel of our idea into a better feeling is kind of like a flight instinct on a horse. It's just more of a natural searching, thinking flight than a completely reactive flight where the horse is not really thinking about what it's doing. But in reality, there's a lot of horses that sort of run to one side of the paddock, or they do something, or they make all these little decisions, various tones of decisions, but it's the decisions that you don't see very often are really, really reactive decisions, like when a horse just runs through a fence or something like that. But usually that's when the horse is just on complete overload, and sometimes that horse probably hasn't got the feel of a herd to sort of follow along with, to take away some of that, to take some of the responsibility of all the worry that it has to worry about. So yeah, I don't think flight is just a horse in the red zone going blah 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 blah. I think flight is just something that a horse naturally does, and a lot of flight decisions following the feel of someone else's decision. And that's in training what happens when our horses get nervous. It's very important that we don't see it as, oh no, the horse is flight, it's a flight, I've got to avoid that. It's how we channel that flight and make that flight a good idea, and say, hey, why don't you follow the feel of my rein? And that horse will go, well, I'll follow the feel of that rein like I'm following the feel of a herd, into a better feeling. So we can get that horse to tip the worry out through following a feel. So in a lot of cases, we're just turning flight into follow a feel. So the horse makes an active, searching decision, and sees our idea as something that helped it make it feel better. But most definitely we don't want freeze, most definitely we don't want fight. But if you look at freeze, which I see in a lot of horses in the clinics that I do, they've been taught freeze through the desensitizing, the way they've been desensitized, they've been desensitized in the way that says you have to stand still, and they think they have to stand still. If they think they have to stand still, then basically all the things happening around them is only putting worry in the cup. And then when the cup gets too full, or there's something big that happens, then all that comes out into either explosive flight or fight. So freeze is a pathway to bad explosive flight and fight. So to avoid freeze, we have to get a horse to search and think, and just tap into its natural searching flight instinct to make a decision. And that'll help keep that horse open, willing to search and things like that, and seek good feeling through our ideas.